Hi, my name is Malachi and I'm going to be your instructor in this Ruby on Rails course. In this course, you're going to learn everything you need to get started making websites with Ruby on Rails. Rails is one of the most well-known web frameworks, and every day people use it to do cool things like building web applications such as Shopify or Airbnb. So if you want to learn how to build websites, Ruby on Rails is for you. In this course, I'm going to teach you everything you need to get started with Ruby on Rails. We're going to cover all the core concepts in Ruby on Rails, and then we're going to build a website like YouTube with Rails. Here's the website you're going to create. You're going to learn how to create this beautiful entertainment platform. Here on the home page, we can see all of the videos and we can watch them. And also we have an admin area to monitor and manage the videos. If you've never used Ruby on Rails before, don't worry, I'll teach you everything from scratch. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do to get started is to install Ruby on Rails. There are a few dependencies that we have to install first. The first one is called Node.js. All we have to do is go to nodejs.org, and then we just have to download. I'm going to download for Windows because that's the operating system that I'm on. Click on LTS because LTS is the one that stands for long-term support. So once it's installed, go ahead and open it up and then run the file. I already have it installed, but I'll just run it anyway. Couldn't do any harm. So click next, then click I accept and next, and then just click next again. And then just click install. So Node.js has been successfully installed. Let's click finish. The next one that we have to install is called Yarn. Remember, I have the links to these websites in the description, so just check out the description and then you can click the link. For now, I'm just going to search up Yarn download Windows, and then we can click on the installation. And then I'm going to click on alternatives, and I'm just going to click on download installer. I'm going to click on Windows because I'm using Windows, and then that's it. So again, you're going to need to run Yarn by double clicking. Now again, I already have Yarn, so it's actually not going to let me install it this time, but you would just click next and next and next and then finish, and then Yarn would be installed. So after you've installed Yarn, there's a few more things to do. And first of all, we're just going to go to railsinstaller.org. And this is one of the main things that you have to do. And I'm just going to click on Windows Ruby 2.3. So this website just hosts a bunch of packages that you need to install Rails. Ruby 2.3 isn't actually the current version of Ruby. So what we're going to have to do is update the version of Ruby. So once it's installed, I'm just going to double click it again just to show you. And then I'll click next. Next, and you'd click install here, and then that's it. I'm going to click install just to make sure that I'm with you and we have the same setup. Okay, so now I'm just going to click finish, and then the Rails installer will be installed. Okay, so now we have all the packages for Rails. What we need to do is install the newest version of Ruby. So let's go to rubyinstaller.org, and then I'm just going to click on the one in bold, and you need to click on the one in bold as well. So just click on that one, and then it will install, and then we're going to run it, and then it will install the latest version of Ruby. It will automatically overwrite the Ruby that we just installed. If you're ever looking to update to the latest version of Ruby, you just come to this website and you get the latest one. So I'm going to click install for all users, and then I accept the license, and then make sure that this one is clicked, add Ruby executables to your path, and this one as well. Click install and next. Okay, so now just click finish. And now this command window pops up. We're just going to click enter, and it's going to install the necessary components. And then just click enter again once it's finished. Click enter again, and then it goes away. Okay, and then just open up a new CMD window by typing in CMD command prompt, and then run gem install Rails, and that should install Rails globally on your system. So as you can see, it's installing. For me, I'm in my users directory. I'm in the POVA directory. Okay, so everything has successfully been installed, and just to verify, we're going to run the command rails-v. V stands for version. And let's see what it says. And it says Rails 7.0.4.3. Now we're going to say Ruby-v. Same thing, just to check our version of Ruby. 3.2.2. Perfect. Then we're just going to check Yarn-v. It gives us our version. And then you can just run the command node-v. And it gives us our version. If you're not getting your version, that means it's not successfully installed. So just make sure that you have everything installed. Okay, so now it looks like that we have everything installed to get started developing with Rails. This is so good, and I'm so excited to get started. So what I'm going to do is go into the directory in which I want to start my new Rails project. So for me, it's going to be in documents, and then in GitHub. And this is the directory where I want my Rails project to be. And then finally, to generate a new Rails project, all you have to do is say Rails new, and then the name of your project. I'm going to name it YouTube, and I think you should name it YouTube as well. And as you can see, it's doing a mad one, and it's creating a bunch of files. Okay, so after a few minutes, it looks like it's finally done, and I'm going to open my Visual Studio Code editor. This is the one I recommend. And to install it, you just go and search it up and then click download. Okay, so I'm just going to open the folder that I just created. And as you can see, it's YouTube. So select folder, and now the project is officially open in my VS Code. And what we're going to do is run the Rails server. So I'm going to go full screen, and then I'm going to click on terminal and hit new terminal. You can also hit Control, Shift, and plus. And then we're just going to run the command Rails S. And what this does is it starts the Rails server. I'll just zoom in so you can see it. Run Rails S. And as you can see, it starts and it says listening on this port and PID 6108. And it says Control C to stop. So I'm going to hit Control and left click on this link, and it's going to take me there. And as you can see, we have our new Rails project. It gives us the Rails logo, absolutely beautiful. And so yeah, now we know Rails is successfully installed. I hope you're here with me. Let's get this show on the road. Okay, so in the last video, we created our first Ruby on Rails project. And in this video, we're going to create our first post model. And what this means is that we're going to be able to create, read, update, and destroy models. And we're going to call the model post. So imagine on YouTube, you create a video, you can also edit the video, you can watch the video, and you can update the video. I mean, you can delete the video. It's the same concept. It's called CRUD, C-R-U-D. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to stop my Rails server, and I'm going to run a new command. So I'll just make it bigger for you. It's in the bottom right, by the way. Okay, so the command I'm going to run is called Rails G scaffold. What this command does is generate a scaffold. The G stands for generate, and every Rails command starts with the Rails, and scaffold is what we're going to create. So Rails G scaffold, then we have the name of the scaffold. So I'm going to call it post. So post, and then we're going to give the post a title because every YouTube video has a title. So we'll say title, and then we also have to specify what type is the title. Is it an integer? Is it a string? Is it a Boolean? And of course, with a title, we'll be working with a string. So we do colon and then string. Every YouTube video also has a description. So we're going to add description and then we're going to say string. Okay, so that's all we need for now. If we hit enter, then it will run a command. So that's our first command, apart from the Rails S to start the server. Okay, so as you can see, it created a bunch of files. This is why Rails is so good. It makes it faster to develop. So what we're going to do now is run a command called Rails DB migrate. And the reason that we're going to run this command is because let's go to the DB folder and then let's go to migrate. And as you can see, this is one of the files that was just created. It says create table posts. So what this is going to do is go into our database and it's going to create the table called posts. Each post is going to have a title and a description. So if we run another command called Rails DB migrate, then this is going to actually be migrated into the database and we'll be able to work with this as a field or as data. So I'm going to run this command Rails space DB colon migrate. So hit the enter key to run the command and then this will create a new file because it's our first migration. And this is called the schema.rb. This file houses the kind of structure of our database. So it doesn't house the actual data of our database, but it holds what it would look like. So it has the post table with a title, a description, and a created at and an updated at. So that's the schema.rb. It just houses the structure of the database and what it looks like. So now let's go to app, views, and let's go to posts. All of these files in the post folder were just created. This is what we call the views. The views are what the user interacts with. Rails is what we call an MVC framework, model view controller. As you can see, the views are here. So they're in the views folder. Controller, they control the backend. They control what happens in the application. So if the view count needs to be increased by 1, then that happens in the controller. The views render all of the content. And then the model is kind of like what stores the content. It's kind of like what represents the content. So as I said, all of these files were just created. These files are what the user is going to see. Now, these files are a little bit different to HTML files because at the end it says .erb. This stands for embedded Ruby, and what it means is that we can use the Ruby programming language inside of these files. It's really cool and it's really exciting. So we understand a little bit about that, and what I'm going to do is run the Rails S again so that I can actually interact with my application. S stands for server, so we're going to run the Rails server. And we're still on the home screen, but what we want to do is to make it so that the home screen of our application, i.e. the domain, is actually going to point to this index.html.erb. So to do that, what we have to do is go to config, the config folder, and then go to roots.rb. This is the place where we define the roots of our application. So as you can see in the comment here, we comment with a hashtag. It says defines the root path, and all we have to do is type root. So I'm going to uncomment this, and then I'm going to say posts hashtag index. So you're probably thinking, what the hell, what's going on? Well, remember that we created a post scaffold. So that's where the post part is coming from. And then the index is where we want it to point to. But when we're using the root function, what it actually means is that it's pointing to the app, controllers, and then the post controller, and then the index action of this post controller. This index action corresponds to the index view of the post folder in the views folder. I'll just say that again because it gets a little bit complicated. So the config roots, this root posts index corresponds and points to the post controller, and then the index action, this is called an action, this is also called a method, which corresponds to the index.html.erb file in the posts folder in the views folder. So now if we save this file and we save that, we should get something different. What do we get? Okay, so we get something different, and it says posts, new post. And now we can create a post. I'm going to call it bang bang. We're going to say my new and first post, create post. Okay, post was successfully created. Back to posts. Damn, it's there. This is really cool, isn't it? I can edit the post. I can get rid of that. My new post, update post. And as you can see, post was successfully updated. If I destroy this post, it means deleted. So now the post is deleted, it's gone. So as you can see, Ruby on Rails is really powerful because already we have something that kind of resembles a YouTube layout. Anyone can see these posts. If I log on in a different browser, anyone could see these posts because they go into the database and then they're served to everyone who uses the application. So now our new post is created, and that's really cool. Okay, so I just want to go over what we just did there to make sure that you understand. So first of all, we created a scaffold, and you can think of a scaffold as a way to interact with a model. So we can create a model, we can update the model, we can read the model, and we can destroy the model. In this case, we called it post, and in the config roots.rb, we're just pointing that the root of the application, i.e. when there's no slashes and it's just the root of the domain, or corresponds to the post hashtag index. What that means is that it goes to the controllers folder, and then it finds the post controller and goes to the index method. So that's all well and good, and it renders this method, and this method corresponds to the index.html.erb folder file in the views folder. So we go to posts and then index.html.erb. Just to make sure that this is the file that is being rendered, if we got rid of this line, what it should do is that it should get rid of this link right here. So I'll save the file and then refresh. And as you can see, it's gone because we commented it out. Okay, so that's an example of commenting, but I want it. So I'm happy that we managed to figure all of that out. But what I want to do now is to create a navbar and create a footer. So on websites, we have navbars and we have footers. And with Ruby on Rails, what you can do is you can create what's called a layout or a partial. And then you can render that partial on every single page that needs that navbar or footer. And now I'm going to give you an example of this. So let's go into the layouts folder and let's create a new file called underscore, because every partial starts with an underscore, and let's call it navbar.html.erb. In this file, I'm going to say, hello, this is my navbar. Then what I'm going to do is go to application.html.erb. It's in the same folder. This file is also very interesting. It's something that you have to understand. This file is the file that renders every other page in the application. So anything I do here will be mimicked on any page in the whole website. What that means is that if I say to render the navbar file, if I say to render it on this page, it will show up on every single page, so I don't have to copy the same code everywhere. So I'll show you an example of this. Let's say new line, and let's say embedded Ruby sign with an equal sign to show that it's rendering. Let's say render layouts/navbar, and then hit save and then refresh. And as you can see, our navbar is there. Just to show you something, I want to get rid of this equal sign in the embedded Ruby, and then let's save and refresh. And as you can see, it doesn't show up. And what that means is that you need to put the equal sign in order to render the content inside of the embedded Ruby. So let's make sure that the equal sign is there. That's a mistake that we'll all make. just to show you that the navbar is being rendered on every single page. If I try and do anything in my application on the pages that we already have, and I do this, my navbar is still there and it's not going anywhere. Okay, so that's really cool. Now what I'm going to do is the same thing for the footer to make sure that you understand. So what did we do? We went to layouts and we created a new file called _footer.html.arb. And then what I'm going to do is say, hello, this is my footer. Save and refresh, and nothing's going to happen. And that's because we need to render it in the application.html.arb file. So let's go here and let's copy and paste this line underneath the yield tag. And I'll show you why we do that in just a second. So then let's change it to footer, save and refresh. And as you can see, it says, hello, this is my footer. Now, just to get on why we put it underneath the yield sign is because this yield sign represents all of the other pages that we're going to render in our application. So if we want to render the index page, it goes inside of the yield sign. So we want the footer to be below the page because we want it to be on the bottom. So we want it to be below all of the content. And that's why we render it underneath the yield sign. It's the same thing with the navbar. That's why we render it over the yield sign because we want it to be on the top. If I'm going a bit fast, just slow down the video and watch it again. Okay, so I don't want to spend this video just styling the navbar and doing things like that because I'm here to teach you Ruby on Rails, not CSS or HTML. I recommend watching a different course on those things. So what I'm going to do is just copy and paste code from another project that I have. And then you can just copy and paste the code on GitHub because that's where you can find this project. I'll have a link to it in the description. Okay, so I'm just going to go to this project and I'm just going to copy and paste the code in there that I already have. So I'm going to go to app, views, layouts, and then I'll just copy and paste it into the navbar. And then I'll do the same thing with the footer. I'll probably get some errors. And the reason that I'm getting errors is because it uses functions that we don't currently have in our application because this is the finished navbar. So what I'm going to do is just comment these out, and you should do the same. So just comment out anything that has embedded Ruby because we don't have access to much in our application. So just comment it out by adding a hashtag. And after you've done that, you won't get any errors. And I'll just make sure to put both of these files in the description just to make sure that you have them. And the reason that it looks so bad is because we need to install Tailwind CSS. Tailwind CSS is a CSS framework that is going to make it a lot easier for us to create our application and make it look decent. So let's go to tailwindcss.org, tailwindcss.com, and then let's click get started. Now in this course, I'm just going to use the play CDN because that's a lot faster, but I recommend actually installing it and watching a video. But you don't have to do it for this course, so don't worry about it. So copy and paste this script tag and then go to application.html.arb. And then we're just going to go to the head of our application and I'm just going to copy and paste in the script tag. Once I've done that, it should actually load. And as you can see, it does, and our application looks a lot better with a proper navbar and a proper footer. Not YouTube, I'm very creative, aren't I? And so that's it. Okay, so far we have a navbar, we have a footer, and we also have the ability to create and delete posts. I just realized that I want my footer to be fixed to the bottom. And so what I'm going to do is just say position fixed left 0, bottom 0. And now it should be fixed to our screen, but it is. And I just need to say width 100%. So say width 100%. The next thing that we want to do is to make a feature so that our users can sign up and sign in. This is a really important feature. Okay, so to do this, we're going to use a gem. And a gem is like a package that we can use to help build our application. And the website that we use is called rubygems.org. As you can see, it's going to say find, install, and publish Ruby gems. It's a publish your gems and install them. And essentially, it's like Node.js package manager. And they're just libraries, programming libraries that help you to build your website. So we're going to search up Devise. Now, Devise is a flexible authentication solution. It has 160 million downloads, so it's quite popular. And we're going to install it. So click on it. And then we're going to copy this. And we're going to go to the gem file. Now, I haven't taught you about the gem file yet, but I'm going to teach you about it now. So this is the gem file. It's in the root of your application. And then here we have all of our gems. Gems are the packages. I just said that. And then, so all we have to do is just put in gem devise and then run a command and then devise will be installed. At least that's what I'd hope. For now, what I'm going to do is just get rid of all of the comments because it looks ugly. and we don't need these comments. So just get rid of all the green or whatever color the comments are in your editor. And then just before where it says group development test do, I'm going to say hashtag because they commented out, and I'm going to say my gems. And then I'm going to copy and paste devise under here. This isn't a requirement. It's just something to help you keep track of what gems that you've installed and what were previously installed by the system. Okay, so now we have devise installed. We know what gems are. We know what Ruby gems is. We're all good. So all we have to do is stop the server, and we need to run a command called bundle install. Now what this command does, so bundle install, I'll just make it bigger so you can see. Sorry about that. Bundle install. This command, it just installs whatever in your gem file. By doing this command, it'll give you access to the libraries that are actually in your gem file. So let's hit enter. Okay, and as you can see, it says bundle complete, 17 gem file dependencies, 79 gems now installed. Quite a lot, isn't it? Rails is a whole package. Anyway. Now what we want to do is go to the devise documentation. Documentation is a really important thing that you should probably get familiar with. In fact, I don't want to go to this one. I want to go to their homepage. Sometimes it's documentation, sometimes it's homepage, but we want to go to the homepage. Okay. Then I'm just going to scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. And as you can see, it says to get started, you just add the gem, and then you run the command. We haven't run the command yet, so let's run the command. So it says Rails generate devise install. So I'm going to copy and paste that into my terminal and hit enter. Okay, now it's given us a list of things that we have to do in order to work with devise. First, it says ensure you have defined default URL options in your environments file. Basically, we have to do that. So let's copy and paste this line and go to development.rb. And this is just changing how we want to mail our users, but it doesn't really matter. So go to development.rb. and then add that line and save the file. Then it says, ensure you have defined the root URL to something in your config.roots.rb. Well, let's see. Have we done that? Config roots.rb, and it says root post hashtag index. So yes, we have done this. So that one is ticked off. Next, it says, ensure you have flash messages in your application.html.rb. This is really helpful for debugging our application. It's going to say like you have successfully signed up, and that's what the flash messages are. So let's add this to our application.html.rb. So go to app, and then to views, and then to layouts, and then to application.html.rb. And I'm going to add it just below the navbar. Okay, once you've done that, we just have to run one more command, and that's called Rails g devise views. We talked about what views were earlier. Views are what the user interacts with and what they see when they go into your website. So what this means is that we're going to be able to access what the user sees when they actually see the sign up field and the registration, login, and all that. So there's just a few more steps before we have authentication integrated into our application. And I'm just going to run the command Rails g devise, and then we're going to call it user. This is what it's commonly called. It's usually called a user. And this is the model that we're going to use with devise. Next, we're just going to run our final command, and this is Rails db migrate. I hope you remember what this command does, but what it does is just update the schema.rb, which is the representation of the database. It means that we can actually use what we want to use. And as you can see, the schema.rb was changed, and now we have the users table in the schema.rb. So then, now let's run Rails s, and let's see what happened to our application. Okay, so nothing happened to our application, but what I want to do is go to views and go to our navbar. Because in our navbar, we had links to like sign up in our application, and we want to uncomment them. So what I'm going to do is say, now we can actually uncomment if current user, and then I'm going to say uncomment that one, and then uncomment, actually don't uncomment on, uncomment the logout button, and uncomment the sign up button, and then uncomment the end button. So now I could save, and we should see something. So now we have access to this sign up button, and that's because of this link right here. It says link to sign up new user registration path. If we follow this link and click on it, it takes us to this, and as you can see, we have 3 fields. we can actually sign up. So I'm going to sign up and say test@gmail.com. Then a password of 123456 and 123456 for the confirmation. I hit sign up. Okay, so it says, you have signed up successfully. That's amazing. Now that I've signed up, I have access to this upload button and I can actually upload a post. So that's really cool. This is going well. And then I can also log out at any time and it works. Now, unfortunately, our sign up form and our login form do not look very nice. They look very bare bones. And so I want to actually improve them with some styling. But again, I'm not here to teach you HTML or CSS. So I'm going to copy and paste some styles that I already have from another application. You can find the code on GitHub if you want to just copy and paste. So I'm just going to copy and paste this in and it looks like that. And then I'm just going to copy and paste the sessions into the sessions and it looks like that. So that's immediately much nicer to look at. So that's great. What I did was I just changed the contents of the new in the registrations folder and changed the contents of the sessions in the sessions folder. So in this video, we created our first post scaffold. We added the Vise and we added the footer and the nav bar as well. This application is coming together quite nicely. So I'll see you in a second. Okay guys, welcome back to the course. And in this video, we're going to be adding the ability to upload images and videos to our post model. So we're going to be able to view the images and edit them and view the videos and watch the videos and everything like that. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to stop my server and I'm going to run the command rails active_storage :install. Active storage is the library that we use to help us with attachments. Attachments qualify as like images or videos. So when we run that command, migration was created. And so to migrate that migration, we need to run the command rails db-migrate. Again, this just changes the schema.rb so that we have an accurate representation of the database. Now that we've done that, as you can see, we have all of these new tables in our schema, and that's really good. The next thing that we have to do is go to models. So I'm going to go to models and then we're going to hit the post.rb model. And what we have to do is this. So we have to do what has, and so I'm going to write has_1_attached and we can do image. Our post is going to have an image and a video. In fact, we don't have to call this image, but we will. We could call it thumbnail, whatever you want. But I recommend just keeping an image because the other code relies on this as it's a variable. So next we need to add has_1_attached. And this time we're going to say video. So now that we've done that in our model, our post model, we can go to the controller and then the post controller. This is where everything happens with the post and how it defines how they're created and when they're deleted and things like that. Every method here is usually, they have their own view. But if we come down to the post params method, we see here all the attributes that the post allows. All we have to do here is add 2 attributes. So I'm going to say :image and then :video. Now the image and the video attributes can be uploaded to the post model. This is absolutely amazing. I hope you understand. And so now we can upload images and images and videos. There's 2 more things that we need to do though, and that is to change the form and to also render the images and the videos. So let's do the form part first. So let's go to views, posts and form. And then I'm just going to copy and paste this. Hold on. And then I'm just going to say image. And then we're going to change this to a form.file_field. And we're going to say image. Then we're going to do the same, but we're going to call it video. And then our form will look quite different. So if we save that file, and sorry, we have to run the Rails server. So hit Rails S, run Rails S, type Rails S. But now that we've added that to our form should be looking quite different. And as you can see, we have the option to add an image and add a video. You know, the problem with our form now is that it looks really horrible. It's functional, but it looks really horrible. So what I'm going to do is, again, copy and paste code from another project that I have. All you have to do is go to GitHub. And this is just because I don't want to teach you HTML or CSS. And that's the only reason why. So I'm just going to copy and paste this code into here. And that's it. Now we're getting an error and it says undefined method ID. And we'll get to that in a minute. But for now, we'll just comment it out. So now our form looks a lot better. And that's great. Another thing that I'm going to do is go to the new. And I'm just going to copy and paste this code into the new. and that way it just looks a bit better. Okay, so now our post form is fixed, and that's great. Now when we actually upload videos, let's just try and upload an image and a video. So I'm going to say hello, and then for the title I'll say my first post, even though it's not, but I'll say upload video. Now, as you can see, it does say post was successfully created, but where the hell are my image and where the hell is my video? Well, the fact is that we're not rendering it. So what we have to do is render it. So all we have to do is I'm just going to do that, copy and paste that, and say, get rid of that. And we're going to say post.image, and then we have to wrap it in what's called an image tag. So say image underscore tag, and then wrap it in parentheses. And then we'll say style, height 100 pixels, and width 100 pixels. So it's going to be a square. Okay. And as you can see, our image is showing up. That's great. What about our video? Well, for our video, I'm just going to add this code, and all we have to do is to get rid of this at. So it's saying video, and the source is the URL for the post video. And if we save and refresh, as you can see, the video is coming up. That's another Rails tutorial that I made, funny enough. So now our video and our image are being rendered because we added this code here. But unfortunately, again, it looks terrible. So what I'm going to do is add code from another project that I have, and then we'll see how it looks after that. Okay, so as you can see, it looks a little bit different. So go to your show page, and then I'm just going to copy the show into this show. So now it should look quite different. And we're getting an error, and it says undefined method user. Again, we're just going to copy or comment this out because we won't deal with it right now. So copy and paste. So comment out post.user.email and comment out this line and comment out this line. And then it should be working. And we're getting another error, and that's because we haven't defined this path. So we have a button here, and it says link to download. And this is to download the image or the video. And we need to add this in our method. So this is a really good way to learn how Rails works. And so to fix this, we need to go to controllers and then to post controller, and we need to add a new method. And we're going to say def download, and then end. Oops. Okay, so save that and refresh. And the reason that it's not working is because we need to go to our config routes.rb, and we need to add another route. So I'm going to say get, which is a get route. Learn more about the types of routes on YouTube. And then we're going to say post/id/download. And then we're going to say to post #download as download_post. Okay. Save that and then refresh, and our error should go away. And as you can see, it does. And it says the title of our post with the video, and it says 5 minutes ago, and we can download. Let's see if the download works. And it doesn't. So I'm just going to copy and paste code, and it doesn't. So just add this line to your download action. So we're saying send data at post.image.download, and then we're just saying the file name is the post.image.filename to a string. Instead of image, I'm going to change that to video. And if we save and refresh, that should be it. And we should be able to download the video. But let's just go back. We're getting another error. It says undefined method video. And to fix this, I think I just added something wrong. Let's go back to the posts show. And if we just change this line to post.video.attached, then as you can see, it actually does work. And we click download, and then it does actually download. That video is 10 Visual Studio Code tricks every developer should know. Check it out. Or maybe I'll put a link in the description if I remember. So now we are rendering videos in the show page. Another thing that I want to do is make sure that this looks a little bit better and add some CSS to it. So I'm going to go to my old project, and I'm just going to add the CSS. So I'm going to go to my views, and you can just do this on GitHub, as I said before, and just add this into the _post.html.erb. And we're going to get an error somewhere, and it says post.user.email. So I'm just going to comment that out because we haven't done that yet. And as you can see, now we get this. Also, I want to go to the index page, and I actually want to copy and paste the index into this, as it just looks a little bit better. Okay, and now we're getting an overlay, and it says posted 8 minutes ago. Okay, so to refresh what we have in our application so far, we have the ability to sign up. I'm just going to sign up as test2@gmail.com. 12345 is the password. Click register, and now we have signed up successfully. That's great. Now I'm going to click upload, and I'm going to upload another post, another post, another post, and then another post. Choose a video file. This one is fine, and then an image file, and this one, actually we'll do this one, and that's fine. Upload video, and as you can see, it does work. And when I go to the home page, it works as well. Now, for some reason, the posts are underneath each other, and I wanted to be side by side. So I'm just going to get rid of display flex on the YouTube layout class. So get rid of that, and then add display inline block. So I'll just add it in the same place. So display : inline block. There we go. And now they're side by side. So that's good. Notice how we're rendering the thumbnail on the home page, and then when you click on it, it shows the video. Okay, so that is the end of this video. In this video, we added the ability to upload images and videos to our posts, and we also styled the views. Hey guys, in this video, we're going to make a My Post page so you can see your own posts, and we're also going to make it so that nobody else can delete your post that you created personally. Okay, so to go and get started, we need to understand something. So go to models and then user.rb. So what we need to do here is write has_many posts. And what this is doing is creating a relationship to the post model. The user has many posts, and the post belongs to the user. So what we need to do in the post, save that file. What we need to do in the post model is say belongs_to user. So now that we've created that relationship, what we can do is access the post through the user. The next thing that we need to do is create a migration, and we're going to say Rails G migration add user ID to posts. Make sure that your command looks exactly like mine. If it doesn't look exactly like mine, then you're going to have difficulties. Then we're just going to say user_ID integer. So run that command. And then once you've done that, we're going to head and go over to the schema.rb just to watch it in real time and go to the post table. And as you can see, there's no user ID there yet. But if we run Rails DB migrate, then there will be a user ID in the post table. And as you can see, it's there. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can go ahead and run Rails S again. And then what we can do is go to the post controller, and in here, in the post params action at the bottom of the page, we're going to permit a new attribute, and that's going to be called user ID. Basically, the reason that we're doing all of this, the reason we created the migration, is because when we upload the post, we want to be able to access the user that created the post by using the post user ID. So we need to have a field called user ID in order to compare it to all the users and see which one matches and owns the post. I hope that makes sense. Next, we're going to go to views and then to posts and then to form.html.erb. And in this file, remember when there was a hidden field and it was called user ID, and I commented it out last episode, and this is all in one course, but still last episode, we're going to uncomment it now. Now it's hidden, so it's not going to make any difference, but it is there. In fact, just to show you, I will unhide it and we'll say text field. That way we can actually find out what the current user ID is. And it's 2, it's right here. And it says value current user ID. Okay, so that's really cool. But we want to hide it because we don't need to show the user that, because they don't even need to change it. So now that we've done that, what we can do is go to the posts show.html.erb, and we can actually uncomment everything that we have commented here, because that's just what we can do. So now that we've uncommented that, let's go to the home and let's go here. And as you can see, we're getting an error because this particular user doesn't have the user ID field because it was created before we added that. So I'm just going to comment that line again and then delete this. So hold on, I'll just comment this out again because that post needs to be deleted, otherwise we'll get errors. And then comment that out because that also needs to be commented out, and then click delete. Okay, post was successfully destroyed, and then we'll delete this one as well just to make sure. Now we can uncomment everything. Very cool. Perfect. And then we can refresh, and then we can hit upload my first post, the first post, and then have a video, and I have many videos because I'm a YouTuber, and get faster at programming with these tips, and an image of 5 CSS positioning tips. Upload video. And as you can see, it tells us the title of the video, tells us who uploaded it, test2@gmail.com, tells us when it was uploaded, and then we have the edit, delete, and download. Now, the reason this is really cool is because if I copy this URL and then go on Opera GX, my other browser, and I copy and paste this URL into Opera GX, right? Well, as you can see, the download, edit, and as you can see, the download buttons, and then I zoom out because the footer is covering that. The edit and delete buttons are not there. And the reason that they're not there is because, one, we are not, on Opera GX, I'm not signed in. And two, I'm not signed in as the correct user, in this case, test2@gmail.com. So now we can't delete the post if we're not the correct user. Very cool. Just to add another layer of validation, because that's validation on the views, what we're going to do is go to the post controller in the controllers folder, and then we're going to do the destroy. And then all we have to do is, before this line, we can say if at post.userid is equal to current_user.id, then we can destroy and delete the post. And then we're just going to do that for all of the other methods. Well, not all of them, but if at post.userid is equal to current_user.id, then destroy or update. And this is just adding another layer so that, let's say the hacker was able to actually, then we have another layer of protection against the hacker so that they can't delete the post. I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but that's my understanding of it. So the video is working. That's nice to see. And only the owner can actually edit the post. Okay, so that's all well and good, but there's a few things that we need to add. Number one is a view counter. Number two is a like button. And number three is the ability to see all of your posts. We're actually going to start with number 3 first. So I'm going to stop the server and I'm going to run another command, a new command called Rails G controller. And then we're going to call it pages. And then we're going to also say media. So what this is going to do is create a new controller and a new folder and a new view. Then what I'm going to do is go to roots.rb, config.roots.rb, and we're just going to add another get root. So go to your config.roots.rb, and we're going to add a get root to this. So get pages/media. Okay. And then where's the media? Okay, so here. So here's the media file. And now if we go to pages/media, then it should work. But I have to start the server again. So run Rails S. Okay, and so this page is being rendered, so that's how we render a new page. We can generate a controller, then add a get root to that page, and then go to the correct URL. Now the content that we want on this page is the current user's posts. So how do we do that? Well, I'm going to copy and paste this code in, and then I'm going to explain it to you. So up here we have message. Don't worry about that for now. And then we have an upload button to bring us to the upload post page, but don't worry about that as well. Here it says, this is the important part. Here it says if current user. This does two things. It says if the user is signed in, and then it says div ID posts, so it's just a normal HTML div, and then it says render the posts. Now this makes a lot of sense because posts is not a variable that we have access to right now. So let's go to pages controller, and as you can see we have this media action. Now I'm gonna I feel like I've said this a million times, but I'm going to copy and paste this code in. So we're saying if the user is signed in, and then at post is equal to current user.posts. If that variable is empty, then you can say, wow, that's a very clean portfolio because they don't have anything in their post. They haven't uploaded anything. If it's not empty, then you say, here's your portfolio. So let's save and then refresh. And as you can see, it's showing me my portfolio. This is the post that I have, but the message is not loading, and that's because we commented out this line. There we go. Here's your portfolio, and oops, and now it's working. Okay. One annoying thing is that we don't have access to this portfolio page in the navbar. So let's go to navbar.html.erb, And let's just uncomment this line, pages underscore media underscore path, and it should work. Okay, there we go. And then it says, here's your portfolio. Okay, very cool. Now we can see our portfolio, and we are the only ones that can delete it, and it works. Now, one annoying problem that I'm having is that the footer is covering the post. And the way that I'm going to fix that is just by adding a div, encapsulating the yield tag in a div. So it has to have these classes, these tailwind classes: container, px5, mxauto, content, mt28. And then you just wrap it inside, and then it works. And the footer isn't just covering all of the content, and the site looks better as well. Okay, so 5 minutes ago we didn't have a My Media page, but now we have a My Media page, so that's really cool. The next thing that we need to do is add a like button. Okay, so in this video we're going to add a view counter to our posts. It's going to be really easy, and we might even get time to add a like counter and a like button to our posts in the end of the video. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to rubygems.org, and I'm going to search up punching_bag. This is the gem that we're going to use to make it easier to add view counters. So I'm going to go to the home page, and then I'm just going to add this gem to our gem files. So stop the server first of all, and then put it under my gems. So that's our second gem we've added, and then hit bundle install. Make sure to save the file before running bundle install. And then after that, say Rails G punching bag, because that's what it says in the documentation. It's going to generate a few punching bag files, probably an initializer, things like that. And then after that, say rake db migrate. Rake is another way to say Rails. It's what we used in like the previous versions of Rails, but now we just use Rails. And then finally, we're going to add access punchable to our post model. So go to models, so app, models, and then post. And then we're going to say access punchable. So we're already halfway there or more. And all we have to do is go to, and to use it, all we have to do is go to the controllers, post controller, and then go to the show action. Show action is here. And we're going to say at post.punch request. Once we've done that, we can start the server. And then while the server is starting, we have to do the last thing, and that's to go to posts. And then we'll go to the show, and then we'll say post.hits. So now everything should be working in less than 3 minutes. I think it should work. And as you can see, it says one view. I'm just going to add view after that just to make it clear. View. So it says 2 views. And then if I refresh, it's going to say 3 views and 4 views and 5 views. And that's it. It works. So every time someone logs onto this page, it just increments that counter. And this counter works for everyone. If I go in a different browser, then it'll be the same view count. Well, actually it'll be +1, but you know what I mean. And that's really it. The view count The view counter increases. And that's not going to be the end of this video because it was really short. Let's check the time. 3 minutes in. Yeah, okay. Now every YouTube video has a like button. It doesn't have a dislike counter, but it has a like counter. So let's add that as well. Can't lie, I've fully forgotten how to do it, so I'm just gonna... Okay, so after watching my own video on how to do this, I've kind of figured it out. So what we're going to do is run a command, and that command is going to generate a new model. So run the command Rails G model like, and then we're going to say user references, and then post references. So hit enter, and then that's going to create a new migration. Go to db migrate, and then the new migration will be created, and then we can just add an index. So we're going to say add underscore index, and we're going to say likes, user ID, post ID, and unique true. Perfect. Okay. So hit Rails db migrate to migrate that to the database. Next, we're going to go to models and then the like.rb, and we're going to add a validation, and that validation is going to be validates user ID, uniqueness, scope, post ID. And this is basically just going to make it so that no user can like a post twice. Then we're going to go to post.rb, and we're going to say has underscore many likes. Save that file, and then go to user.rb and say has underscore many likes. Then we're going to run another command, and it's going to be Rails G controller likes, And then we're going to add some actions, and it's going to be create, destroy, and then like underscore params. And now when we go to our controllers, we have a new controller called likes controller, and we have these 3 actions. Not only that, but when we go to the config and then to roots.rb, I'll just go to roots.rb. We have 3 new roots, and these are the links. Now we don't actually need these links or these roots, so I'm going to say resources, create and destroy, because the like params is not an actual page. Next, go to your controllers and go to likes controller. In the create action, we're going to say at like is equal to current underscore user dot likes dot new, then pass in like params, like underscore params. And then we're going to say if like.save, flash alert, then you've already liked this. So if you've already liked a post, then flash the alert, you've already liked this. Then in the like params action, just say params.require like.permit post ID. Perfect. Then in the destroy action, just say at like is equal to current underscore user dot likes dot find. Next, what we're going to do is go to views and then to posts and then to show.html.erb. And just before where it says if the current and just below where it says if the current user, we're going to add some code. And what we're going to say is button underscore 2, which is like a form, and we're going to say like because we want to like the post, and then we're going to say likes underscore path and add in some params is equal to post underscore ID. Post ID is post.id. Then say method, then after that line say post.likes.count. So what should be happening is that a like is created every time you hit that form, that button, and then the like is rendering. So let's try it out. So I'm going to hit Rails S. And we're getting a little error, and that's because we need to add at post.id because we're in the show page. And then we need to add at post.likes.count. My bad. Okay, and now as you can see, we have a like button and we have a like counter. If we hit like, then we get an error. It looks like a typo error. I'm just going to go to controllers and the likes controller and make sure that that's actually an equal sign and not just a hyphen. Okay, so like, refresh. As you can see, it has a like. Okay, so we've successfully added a like button. Now I don't like having to refresh every time that we like a post. So in the create action, I'm just going to say when a new like is created, I'm just going to say redirect underscore to, and we're going to say at post dot. Actually, we can just say redirect back and give a fallback location and say root path, and then just cover this inside of a div. Then I'm just going to add some styles to this form. So say background color. Actually, no, I can just add the class and make it the same as all the other buttons. So there we go. We have a like button and it says you already like this. Okay, cool. Okay, so now we have a view counter, we have a like button, and we have a My Media page. I'm quite happy to leave it there for this particular course. If you have any questions, then let me know down below. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe. I'm hoping to reach 1,000 subscribers soon. Thanks for watching. My name is Malachi, and I'll see you in the next one.